obviously like Worlds is a goal, I think, but my main goal is not only go to Worlds, I think I want to get a title. It's a success that we are disappointed of doing top 4.
Caliste will make Targamas better and Targamas will make Caliste better. So this is the luck we have.
You can put as many pressure, as many narratives as possible. The only narrative is us who are making it. For me, the summer split is the story of Vladi. The rest, we are just NPCs and watching him. That's what I said. Taking Wadi to the LEC team, I think it was a pretty natural decision because obviously I worked with him in 2023 and Apples and Wadi worked together also in 2024. And I think the whole year of the LFL was pretty successful. And we obviously had one change to do based on last year because we were, I think me and Apples, we wanted to have a bit of a change and see what we could add to the coaching staff. So it was a pretty natural decision, obviously. And one thing that was also really important to us in KC is making sure that people follows and understands what's the DNA of the club. Everybody says this, but nobody actually knows, what this means. I think it's just about, okay, what do we understand about the game together? What do we think is important? And how do we work around the game with the players just to make the team and the environment better for everyone? And I think both of them completely understands this completely, that first we need to work hard before doing anything, and then after that, everything will come on top of what we need to achieve.
I was happy about the LFL experience I had because it was my first year in LFL head coach. I'm a bit sad that we didn't win more trophy, especially because we had good rosters. And now in LEC I want to improve because when you are head coach, you don't have really much time to improve yourself. While assistant coach, you are grinding the game every day, and you can watch the game, and you don't have to manage too much thing outside of league. So this is what I want to do it, improve as much as possible, so I can help the player develop themselves, and also you have access to world, you will play against the best team in the world.
We were basically just building on last split, because it was just Reha kind of deciding what the big picture is, especially for the week, and he was holding players accountable. And then, for example, he gave me a lot of freedom to just work on / fix whatever I thought we need to work on, and working more on individual aspects. So it's really good that I am more freed up and Reha has the help he needs.
Yeah, so obviously we had limitations. From winter and spring, we did double top 10. As I said before, some things had to change, right? And we made our decisions. I am completely thankful to the club to keep trusting us. And after that, once we found the pieces that we wanted to go for, meaning Canna or just a Corinthian planer, and also having a new jungler, especially at this moment of the year, having a LEC jungler that is available on the market and has the quality of closer back in the day, it was almost a dream. And we had him, and the main idea was to, okay, we are going to probably have Caliste for the year after. We also have Vladi, who's an up-and-coming millionaire who's going to play in the LEC summer split. The objective is to make sure that we are on the right track to be what we want to be the year after, okay? Obviously, that's not something that we say to the players, that's not something that we say to the public, because we always want to win, but the objective was to make sure that Vladi will have a specific role in the team for the year after. What does he need to do to be at this role for the year after? So it means he needs to step up side laning in LEC because he will get abused on that. He needs to improve lane phase, and he needs to improve how the leadership on this, right? That's the three different aspects. So that's one thing that we work, and obviously we want to put the foundation also of the staff, because we changed a lot of things during the staff, and including Apples, who also knows Vladi really well as a person and as a player, was the first brick of the coaching staff that we have right now. So the main idea was, okay, what type of pieces do we need to make sure that, okay, we can be competitive for 2025, we can be also competitive for 2024, which happened, because if we did top 4, we could have done even more. It's a success that we are disappointed of doing top 4, because we were, it's true.
Yeah, because
because we
the
were,
way you say it.
Yeah, we are everyone, we did double top 10, but you can ask Apples, the first day everybody came, the first thing we said is we're going to Worlds, by the way, we're going to Worlds. Well, sadly we didn't, but it's a massive improvement from top 10, obviously, but that's only the beginning.
It's of course a bit scary when they do double top 10, and you think I didn't even know if I'm staying next year or whatever, and now it's good luck, you're going up. But my only condition was when I kind of heard those things of Vladi going up, I was just I don't care if I'm LEC, if I go academy, whatever. I just want to keep working with Vladi. Obviously, when I came to Berlin, I was like, okay, let's see what we can do. We will do our best, right? Make sure Vladi is ready for next year. First meeting, we're going to Worlds, and I was like, okay, well, fine, sure, let's do it. Well, top lane is the most isolated role, if you put it that way. So we didn't need a leader or a shot caller. We needed someone who's gonna just give you an advantage. Like, you don't have to worry about him. Vladi is coming in, we're doing roster changes. We just need consistency so that, like, it's just for sure gonna be okay. So now the jungler can work on himself, do his own thing. We can help Vladi and like target upset are more freed up so that we can obviously play for upset as well. And with Canna, we just thought we got the best top laner possible, and I think we did. So the only difference was at the start he was struggling because maybe it was a bit of him still finding how he wants to play in the team and whatever, but also as coaches we weren't sure exactly how to use him, like how to even draft. Like, the English was so minimal at the start, we weren't sure like what he even wants to ban or pick. So all through the weeks we got better on that, and as we improved on that and his English, you could see that he was carrying more games, he was getting more carry champs. People were more afraid of him because in scrims, every time I mean our win rate was insane in general, but Canna for sure had the by far best stats in scrims in the league. So we just needed to find a way to make him work. So again, as the English got better, and then like me talking to him as well, look, if you wanna play for yourself here and 4 people are calling you, say I'm not coming, this is bad. Or like, hey, Canna TP, no, you know? And if you're on side lane, why do you not want to come? I want to push. And then they know, okay, we can just waste some of their time, Canna is gonna stay here. And then when they didn't expect Canna, he then, for example, still flanked, ran across the entire map, you know, that's just a bonus. But the more he did his thing, the better he played. So
I agree most of the points. I think just on a baseline average level, on any aspect of the game, Canna was just the best top laner we could have, and I still think he's the best top laner in the league on many aspects. Maybe things he can obviously improve. And yeah, I think, I mean, expectations, it's always hard to put expectation before the first competitive game. But I think after a couple of weeks, after especially regular season, we knew that we probably have the best one, basically, and that we need to make sure that we put him in the right conditions to carry or be really decisive, just like in scrims, as Apaz was saying. And I think the biggest hurdle that we had was, as you said, okay, making sure that we know exactly how we used to function in Korea and try to replicate it in Europe, which I think is really different from the previous top laners that I had. And it's up to me to adapt to him and making sure that I can ask from him what I think will make the team win the game. That was the biggest part. And we eventually, I think, successfully did it, I think, in the end. Probably there's couple of things that we can even do better, but I'm quite happy with how we managed to use Canna and his integration also into the team from the also an English aspect. His effort was also like really exceptional, I think. Like the amount of effort, the amount of English lesson, and maybe waking up earlier than anyone else to have English lesson. That's, for me, that's a point of saying this guy wants to win with us, and obviously that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah, we probably talk the most now, and in summer we needed to use Google Translate. Basically, we had to. Yeah. But now I figured out which words his teacher should have taught him, because in English there's 100 ways you can say something, and maybe you show it with hands a bit, or you just go like, oh yeah, this makes sense, he should be able to imagine this, because it's not like in Korean they say really detailed sentences, whatever. You just kind of say an idea, okay, yeah, that's it. So you kind of try to make the same in English, and he should understand most things about League of Legends or basic life, but anything outside of that, obviously, he still doesn't understand. He doesn't have to.
I'm really happy with this first split. I think I've said many times that for me, the summer split is the story of Vladi. the rest we are just NPCs and watching him. That's what I said. But it's the truth. I think there's many things that he can show, especially, I mean, he showed it a little bit, but one thing that I think he's good at is like he's a clutch player. And like it's a rare quality. Even the best players that you can think about, they don't have this quality, I think. So that's one thing that is also in his mindset. And also the second aspect that we're going to work a lot on is, I mean, it's hard to say that like that, but I really believe is the actual next phase and future of the LEC team. Yes, obviously Caliste is there and we all believe in Caliste, right? The thing is, Caliste is playing AD carry and Vladi is playing mid lane. And mid lane is probably the most important role in the game for the last 14 years. And I truly believe he can be what we want him to be, and I think what he wants also to be. Meaning, like the Caps, the humanoid, those guys, they will look up to him some days.
Oh, from the retirement homes or something.
Oh, shit talking. This off-season, I think the first step that we made really clear is that, okay, identify the roles that the market is giving options, basically. What options the market is giving, and the two roles I think that we could have a look at are top lane and jungle. But I think among the top lane role, it was really evident and clear for us that we want to keep working with Canna because he has like basically strengths that no other top laner has, and his weaknesses are things that we are 100% confident that we can work on and make sure that he can be better, basically. And on the jungle position, I think it would be really unrealistic to say that we are not looking for options based on the fact that there were like probably 9 junglers that were going to be in the market. So basically this happens once every 3 years or 2 years, that this amount of options in one position happens, and that you actually need to look out and see what's the best for you. And that's what we did. Obviously, there was many options. I can say names. Obviously, we had Shio, we got 113 from the LFL. We get obviously Yike, we get Yonkos, we get, what am I missing? Skewmond, obviously, who was coming from BS Academy.
We did talk about Isma. Not much, but we considered Isma.
There was Isma. I mean, we talked also about Marco and all those type of guys who actually went to the DRL. But also one thing that I value myself is like when there are so many options, I don't really care what people think or say about those players. I want to make my own opinion and see what their actual qualities are. So you see, it takes a lot of time. Yeah, I think out of that, obviously, the off-season goes, some options falls off, and also they fell off because they are not our priorities. We ended up with having basically our top 2 priorities. So we are pretty much happy with the choice of Yike.
I expect him like to help us and the team from his past experiences, like when to know in certain timing, like what are the important stuff to fix to win and how to fix it. When you have won that much, it means you have overcome a lot of difficulties. So that's what I expect him, and I also expect him to make our team and our laners shine, because I think we have maybe the top 1 or 2 laners of every role. Like Canna is insane, Vladi is so good, and he can improve, and Caliste, like I know what he can do. Caliste Targamas, good connection. So I think we can be really, really good. Since I'm in KC, I only worked with Caliste as an ADC, and every time I like come back and see him play, I'm like, okay, it's not normal what's going on. Like you like when you stream with him every day, you're like, it's normal, it's an AD carry. But when you watch other AD carry, on when, like for example, Blizzy come and his Caliste play, like every time Caliste, every game, Blizzy was watching me and he was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy is not normal. If he can play his game, he can, like, it's legit not normal what he's doing. So I think this is like what he can bring is clutch, stability, and like aggressiveness, I guess.
I think I'm really happy with the split with Elias. I think the year has been hard, but I think overall he tried his best, and he was also one of the main reasons why we had the hope of qualifying to Worlds, to be honest with you. But I think Caliste, what he can bring to the table is so many things, right? Like obviously aggressiveness, obviously like clutch factor and mechanics. Also one thing that is really, I mean, it shouldn't be hard in my eyes, but I think is really impressive is like he's young, but he doesn't have any champion pool issues. Yeah. And he can play any champions that he can at a really high level, and I think that's a big quality of him. And also one thing that I think is important to mention is like he's a small clown. He's not the clownest of the clown, but I think he's a small clown that can also have a good relationship with his teammate and also, for instance, like make Targa a better player and a better human. Is this type of player. So for us, it's a natural choice to go for, yeah.
We're just betting on, in the future, Caliste being the guy who's gonna flash in, take a risk, go to 10 HP to try to start a fight, not have any worries about dropping to 4-5, B1ing, as Reha said, no champion pool issue. So we're just hoping on a higher return, but you would be crazy to replace Upset if you don't have Caliste ready, for example.
I think the main luck we have is that his relationship with Targamas is so good. Like, I saw both Caliste with and without Targamas, and it's way like Targamas and him understand each other really well, and they trust each other really hard. So when they talk about the game, it's like no bullshit. Like, here you are bullshitting me, so stop. This is how we should play, and this is the opposite. So I think both will make each other better. You know, Caliste will make Targamas better, and Targamas will make Caliste better. So this is the luck we have.
Makes my job easier too, because they work on their laning with each other and hold each other accountable. And then I can work with Targa on his voice comms or planning. With Caliste too, I can just skip that part and just... The one thing we need to keep making Caliste aware of is to just tell us how can the enemies kill you? Like, what can go wrong for you? What do you need? Which is a thing that he needs to get better at, to say it as fast as possible. Because he knows it, but he doesn't always tell us. And he doesn't tell us where he needs us or where he wants us. And if we can get him to a point where he tells us that in advance and we can plan around it, I think he's gonna have everything he needs.
I think it's a privilege.
Pressure is a privilege, yeah.
So I think, just jokes aside, I think we are all aware of the pressure he can have and the whole pressure that basically everyone outside of KC will put on him. But also one thing that we made really clear with him and that we are all aware is that, my guy, you have time and we're going to be here for you no matter what. And we're going to give you as much resources, as much help as we can. And you have to, your team, your staff, your club, your fans, they are people you can trust on and you can rely on. And that's what I really want him to understand, is that we are going to, like, obviously grow. We have a lot of expectations, but yourself, like, you have time to grow individually. Take your time and focus on your end goal. And your end goal is obviously winning worlds and be a top AD carry in the world. But that doesn't mean that you have to do it this year. Doesn't mean you have to do it in 2 or 3 years. It means you have to do it eventually. So take the time, do the right steps to do so, and don't burn yourself for other things that you cannot control, for instance, right? And one thing I will be really also focused on is, like, anyone in the LEC who shit talks him, they will come to me and I will talk to them and we'll see how it goes, you know? Because I have no problem, but it's true. Any of my players, I will be really honest, it's like, you can put as many pressure, as many narratives as possible. The only narrative, it's us who are making it.
Mechanics, yeah.
I was going to say flexibility because we are champion pool as well.
Yeah. This is so fun, by the way.
Yes.
We are thinking the same. Yeah, they are so good. Like, our players are so good individually. Like, they click good. And I think this is, like, what allows you to be a good player. If you don't click good, you can be as good as you want. You have a limit.
We have Canna, who we already said is the best. If you watched Yike play Worlds and you didn't say he's the best jungler, you don't deserve your job. We have Caliste. And then it's like, sure, we had support options, we discussed them, but then we were like, this makes no sense, just keep Targamas, he can be the best. Caliste wants to play with him, they're good for each other. If people are good at their job and they compare the support options we had, no reason not to keep Targamas. And then Vladi is my job, so he will get there.
Especially at the premise of the team, there's one thing that we heavily focus on is making sure we set up the fundamental of the team. So outside of the game, outside of also the office, we make sure that people, like, tries to know each other on a deeper level, not only their playing career. I think we try to build as strong relationship as we can. So it comes with cohesion workshops, it comes with activities, it comes with also just sitting down and knowing better, the people in front of you. And then after that, we try to build on top of that. So discussing about the different rules, discussing about what do we consider as values as a team, what do we consider as our expectation and goals, and what do we think are going to be the roles of each and every one of the team. That's on the outside of the game aspect, which I think is really important, especially on the first bootcamp. And then the second part that I think is also really important is making sure that us as staff, we are ready for the season that is about to come, because every time at this moment of the year, the game is kind of dead. So everything that is happening right now will be completely changed in less than 1 month, and we have to be ready for the changes. We have to be open-minded enough to understand what we can take away, what edge we can take as coaching staff to give to the players so we can be a better team. And also we have time to prepare the fundamental in terms of gameplay, and every one of us is working on different aspects that we will be able to show to the players to consider, okay, this is how we want to play League of Legends. Doesn't matter what the season it is, doesn't matter what the changes are going to be, but this is what we expect from you, and then we have everything ready when the season starts, basically. Obviously, like, Worlds is a goal, I think, but my main goal is not only go to Worlds. I think I want to get a title. Like, last year is the first year in KC that didn't win anything, which hurts a lot, I think. I'm not gonna lie. So I think, yeah, one of my main objectives is making sure that we are able to bring the kids to an international tournament, whether it's MSI or Worlds. If you're able to get a title, then Worlds is natural. Like, that's just what I believe in, is like people that say want to go to Worlds, they do top 4 to top 6. People who want to win the title actually go to Worlds. So my natural thinking is, I want to win a title. That's how at least I'm going to go to Worlds.
Yeah, I think qualifying to Worlds is like the minimum, and winning a title would be like respecting the club.
Same as last year, where I said that I want our players to be the best in their role. I want people from the outside to say, like, yeah, he's best in his role, he's best in his role.
It's always been natural for me to overlook basically every League of Legends project in KC. Whether it was the LFL next year, we discussed a lot with Wadi, even during summer split when they had changes during the jungle, and I always pushed to get a third team, either in MNT, so like the third division of France, or the second if we can. So that's, for me, that's always natural, because what I believe in is the flow of talent can always be nurtured in a way. It can always be nurtured, and we can always look for specific players who can help us win Worlds. And I always say that I think if we want to win Worlds, is because we need to find the players at their young age, make them understand what being competitive means and what being in KC means, and so it's easier for them to grow in our environment. And then we don't need to find 10 players like that. We need to find the players that we need at each position, and that we can help us win Worlds. Just a bit like the Korean system, obviously. So the way we're going to oversee it is, obviously, first, I think one thing that we need to keep doing is making sure that we have a collaboration between staff. That's one thing that we did a bit. We could have done a bit more last year, but we are going to keep doing it, especially with Rock is going really well right now between Apples and us, making sure that we're able to discuss. Obviously, BZ is part of this as well. And for the Blue Stars project, the way we're going to work is, obviously, we have a lot of resources because we are LEC structure, LEC team, and we need to find the right resources to give to them, make sure that they are able to improve with the right resources we give to them. We cannot give them, like for the Blue Stars kids, we cannot give them how G2 plays tempo traps when pushing side lanes, because they're not up to that level yet. They will be, so they need to understand these concepts, but we can show them things that we think that really are really important in KC. So when they go to the LFL, instead of learning this when they're in the LEC, when they come to the LFL and they're 18 years old, they already know, okay, G2 does tempo traps like this, for instance. And then we need to be really aware of that, or we can replicate the same thing. And this comes with, obviously, the LEC team working well, who can impact the LFL, who can impact Blue Stars, and also the staffs that are on the same page about what we will need to show to the players. And you also come up with anything outside of the game that we can think of that can help them as a player, especially how do we handle social network, how do we handle personal relationships, because there are 16-year-old players who play League of Legends. We need to make sure that they know about this and that we can help them about that. And also that we are a team. The one thing that we pride ourselves a lot in KC is that every team interacts with every team and we are friends with every team. And being in KC is like being a family, because we always support each other. And that's what we want to select the people who will fit the criteria, and some of them will win worse for us.
You can have luck and have like one Caps, 1 year, or Caliste or Vladi, you know, they exist. But if you want to have them like as often as possible and to make them as good as possible, like to use them as good as possible, you need to take them young. Because it's not like I will shoot a bullet, but it's not like being G2 is not good. You just buy people and you expect them to be ready in 1 year or 2 years. And I think it's really unlikely they can win Worlds this way.
The problem is not we don't have talents. The problem is the talents are wasted, I think.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest
no,
problem.
we don't have talent because the coaches also don't have any talent. So the talent.
That's the problem. The amount of players in Korea and in Europe is the same. The only problem is the talents are wasted. You have many players who are challenger at 14 years old. At 20 years old, they've never reached top 10, which makes a bit of no sense, you know, because if they are challenger 14, it means they're talented. But yeah. All right, guys. As you see, it was a pretty much a long interview. We tried to go as much as we could in depth. We tried to tackle the important subject of the LEC team, but also KC in general. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we hope to see you in January. Hold the KC. Comment on dit le blason en anglais?
En français, dis-le en français.
Tenir le blason très haut. Mais bref, rendez-vous en janvier. Love you guys.